faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Island Pawnbrokers is now your local firearm dealer. In a pinch? Need cash quick? See us before going to the big box stores. Paying top dollar for firearms, gold, silver, tools, coins, and electronics. Don't lose your good credit. Let us give you instant cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Island Pawnbrokers. Stop in for instant cash.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster. Well, a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly cloudy through the afternoon. Daytime high near 83, overnight low of 69 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, limited sunshine for your Friday, with temperatures in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Can I ask you a question?
Who wants to put on a show?
Let's do it.
If we do this, how do we know it's going to end any differently than it did before?
Well, we don't know that, do we?
But what we do know is this.
This show is gleeful and bright!
Entertaining and educating.
Boy, I tell you, no better way to start your day.
So let's turn it up.
Okay.
It's showtime.
This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard behind the board in the producer's chair.
So where have we been and where are we going this Thursday morning on the show? We're going to be going to Wheeling City Manager Bob Herron shortly to talk about a couple of the big projects that are pending. The OVMC purchase is done or will be done soon. Some paperwork and stuff may have to get done. I don't know. But then what happens? I mean, then the city owns it, and we kind of have a sense of what their plans are, but there's got to be some work that has to be done there. So I'm curious what Bob Herron is up to with that. We'll also talk about the 19th Street property the council also has agreed to purchase. And are they going to start doing anything with that at all right now? Or is it going to be just sort of land banked and sit there? We'll talk to Bob Herron about that and other matters coming up in just a bit. Also coming up, we'll talk about some of the changes the CDC made in some of their guidelines, and a lot of folks are saying this all has to do with the fact that, well, actually, Dr. Fauci was in the hospital having surgery, and that while the cat's away, Donald Trump was playing and giving the CDC some orders to follow his political hopes. Yes, no, I don't know. We'll talk about it coming up a little bit later on. Earlier today, we talked about fall football is beginning tonight here in the Upper Ohio Valley. First football game this evening. Our first games begin tomorrow, with the games both tomorrow and Saturday here on the Watchdog. Protests shut down both the MLB and NBA playoffs yesterday. Will they continue? We'll find out as the day goes on. Plans for a gas-fired power plant in Brooke County had originally said there would be thousands of jobs and huge economic impact to Brooke County and surrounding regions, but right now that project seems to be dead. The governor says it's not dead, but it seems to be dead. Is the state's unfounded fealty to the coal industry to blame for that? We've been talking about that this morning. Also talked to Wheeling Blues Fest organizer Bruce Wheeler about where the Blues Fest goes now. This would have been the 20th anniversary of the Blues Fest this year, but there was no Blues Fest because of COVID. And it's been a financially tough go for a long time for Bruce. It was in the beginning. Once he moved through about 10 years, he said he had then the yearly event paid for itself, but paying for those early years is still sitting out there. This year was not an event at all. So what's up? They've got a GoFundMe campaign going. We're talking about that. So those are a few things I've got for you. Weather-wise, it looks like it's going to be hot and muggy all day today. We might see some clouds thickening as we begin closer to noontime today. Possibly some lunchtime storms are around, and they could continue into the afternoon or evening. Currently, actually looking nice outside. My grandson Teddy is out on the deck playing around with the grandma, and it's sunny and 74 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 73 here at the home studio, and 73 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you will note I don't normally wear my glasses during the radio show because I don't use glasses. I have them. I've got the trifocals or the progressive lenses, but I really don't use them for reading or for close-up work. And when I'm here in the home studio, I'm literally as close as you can possibly get. So I don't really put them on. But when I went to get coffee and I put my glasses on to go into the other room, when I came back, I looked at this guy on the screen. I was like, who the hell's that guy? Oh, it's me with glasses on. I'm not used to seeing myself with the glasses on anymore because I don't normally wear them on the show. It's amazing what we get used to, Biff. We get used to. So I'm getting used to watching myself without glasses because I don't wear them here in the home studio. But I normally would wear them all the time. We get used to that. I was thinking about that too when I see a story that Jocelyn King wrote for the Intel this week. Where did you see this? Where Ohio County schools have ordered up smile masks, Biffy. These are masks that are going to that have like a clear plastic. These are face masks the kids can wear at school, what teachers can wear at school, but it has like a clear plastic center, so you can see the face, you can see the smile or the facial expressions of the person wearing it. And I get it. It is to help kids be able to watch the formation of, how a mouth moves and lips move to form phonetical pronunciations and so on. Also to see a little bit better the attitude someone has, a little bit smiling or not, or following, whatever. But it just looks so bizarre. There's a picture in the Intel of Kim Miller wearing her smile mask. And I mean, it just looks like something out of like a zombie movie or something. No offense, Kim. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it just looks weird, 6 months ago, it was weird to see people wandering around with face masks on. It was like, oh my God, the whole town has become a town full of robbers. Now these smile masks, they look bizarre. I get it. It's a smart move, a very smart move. I'm not criticizing it all. It's a very smart move. It helps academically, and it also helps, again, just make you feel better, I guess, if you can see someone, see if they're smiling or not. So, but I just got thinking how we get used to something. I'm now used to seeing people wandering around with a face mask on, and with this smile mask, it just looks like, oh my God, it looks like the Joker or something, Also, Stephanie Grinley did a piece for Channel 7 this week, which I thought was interesting. Ohio County schools sent out a survey to the families of all of their students asking how they're going to be attending school this coming fall. 30% are choosing to stay at home. That means 30% of the students in Ohio County school system are going to be doing virtual learning of one kind or another. Which brings me to one of my great concerns, which is teachers are going to have to learn to balance in-seat learning with remote learning. And I think that's a real challenge for any given teacher to be able to teach in a in-seat setting in front of kids with the chalkboard or whiteboard or what have you, and then to be able to switch to a virtual setting as well. It's going to be difficult. But 30% of the kids, of the parents, I guess it's parents, who responded to this survey, so they're going to keep their kids at home completely with virtual learning. Ohio County School is working on helping parents who have difficulty with that. Biffy, it's just going to be a very bizarre year.
That's just something else we'll have to get used to seeing and doing, I guess.
You know, I'm not sure. Teddy is gearing up to go back to school next week, I think, and also to do some remote learning. And I don't know. Hey, I wanted to talk about a couple of issues that are pending, a couple of projects that are pending in the city of Wheeling. I used to have an engineer who would yell at me, Biffy, because he would say I would give him what he called one sentence projects. You know, I'd take my legal pad and I would put one sentence there on his to-do list. It would be like, replace the light bulbs, oil the chair, build a new transmitter. He said, they all take up one line on the legal pad, but there's a lot more to it than just building a transmitter. And I got thinking about that with a couple of big projects that are pending in the city of Wheeling. Wheeling Council recently authorized the purchase of the old OVMC campus, and also just a week or two ago purchasing the 19th Street property. So we've had a lot of discussion about the decision to do that, but what happens next? Well, the guy who has to kind of coordinate all of that is the city manager, Bob Herron, and I invited Bob to come on and join us this morning to talk about it. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Howard.
I appreciate you being with us. Do you get that? Do you ever get that frustration of those one sentence, projects?
Yes. like rent out the OVMC.
Right, exactly. It only takes one line on the legal pad, but it's a whole lot more work than that. Let's talk about OVMC. First of all, bring me up to speed. Is the purchase done yet? I know it's been approved for purchase, but have you finished the purchase of that property yet?
Of OVMC?
Yes.
Yes, that was done on June 29th. We had a tax deadline of July 1st. We met that tax deadline. Yeah. And so, yes, the city has owned it since that time, and it's been a couple of months now, and we're getting our arms around the massive square footage that's there and determining what needs to be done to maintain the buildings so that they don't deteriorate, and then prepare them for marketing and ultimately, hopefully, occupation by the private sector.
Let's talk about what's actually happening. I mean, what are you doing? I assume you and staff have had to go in and kind of assess the status of the building. You did that before the purchase, but I assume now it becomes more real and more real concrete. What have you found as you got in there, and what kind of, where are you in that whole project? Let me throw it open to you.
Well, we did do quite a bit of due diligence prior to the purchase, but now that we're actually managing and operating the buildings themselves, we're getting into greater detail as to learning the heating and air conditioning system, what improvements need to be made to both short term and long term. We are having some of the buildings and some of the office spaces are occupied. We're going to move our recreation department there. We've got our building department is doing their plan review in the afternoons there. We've got some other nonprofits that are interested in space. So, and there's reasons to do that. One is we want activity at the complex. It is less expensive from an insurance perspective if the buildings are deemed to be occupied, and then just to keep the entire complex alive as we figure out what we're going to do with all the square footage, and appropriately assess the buildings and what ultimately needs to be done to convert them to the private sector.
We know that the anticipated plan is using the Valley Professional Center for a new police headquarters, and let me set that aside for a minute. We'll come back to that. But the rest of the campus, it's interesting. So the city will be using some of the rest of the campus for housing some city operations or some city activities. The city,
and that's geared towards temporary. Anything that we do is, could be relocated back to wherever it was before, whether it be the city county building, an annex, or one of our other facilities. The goal there is, again, to have people in the buildings, even though it's a small portion of the buildings, during the day, so that there's activity there, and it is presenting an opportunity for us to kind of spread out and take a little bit more square footage than we currently have in some of those offices. And then, like I said, there are some nonprofits that are interested in short-term space within the facilities. And of course, Northwood is still there, and they're going to be there at least for another year. So that's a positive as well.
Have you come across any surprises yet as you've done you did your due diligence ahead of time, but now as you've begun to maybe more carefully assess what the property is all about, heating, air conditioning, all those kind of things, any surprises popping up, any unexpected problems?
No, there really haven't been any surprises. What I think more in line of the day-to-day maintenance and operation of that much square footage, is what we're into now. We knew the major improvements that were necessary, particularly from a heating perspective. The roofs are in good condition. The buildings are they were occupied a year ago as hospital. So they're in pretty good shape from as old as they are. So we're just kind of wrestling with the day-to-day operations of that much square footage at this point.
I remember some of the council members saying, though, that as they ran through the building before it was purchased, that there are some areas that need a little repair work. I think, I could be wrong, I think even the ER room, for example, had some, water leakage or something like that. So
yes.
You've had to do some of that kind of work, is that right? Or are you going to have to do some of that
Well,
kind of work?
yeah, the water main, and this was identified as part of the due diligence process, the water main that services the west building, which is commonly referred to as the newer portion, is in very bad condition. That needs to be replaced in order to appropriately service that building from a potable water perspective. The sprinkler system is intact and is energized. They did have a water main leak back when MPT owned it. That was cleaned up and from a restoration perspective, but still that water main is a major issue that we were aware of, and we're still we're in the process of trying to figure out a way to address that financially.
Ultimate goal is to find some way to turn this over to the private sector. I don't know, it could be renting it or selling it, or one entity or a bunch of them. But the ultimate goal, of course, is the city would get out of having that property and using it. But for the time being, you are. That's all a lead up to asking you this question. In the meantime, what are you going to do? I know one of my concerns, to be honest with you, before this whole thing was done, was what's the cost of keeping it alive, keeping it mothballed, whatever the phrase is going to be, until such time as another entity comes along?
Well, yeah, I mean, when we went into it as, again, part of our due diligence, we had an idea on what those costs would be. But after, a couple of months of operating the facilities, we've had a chance to really assess which buildings need to be kept alive, which buildings should be mothballed. We haven't made final recommendations on that yet, but we're in the process of doing that. One of the pleasant surprises has been what's called the South Tower, and there has been private sector interest in that building more so than what we had anticipated, and that building's in actually pretty good condition as well. Now, on the other hand, the West Tower, the newer portion, there are significant issues with that building that we're working our way through, so that when we're prepared to market it, we know and can present to whomever may be interested in it, here are the issues and here's how we think they should be addressed. So ultimately, to answer your question, there will be recommendations made here in the next couple of months as to which buildings to, maintain, keep alive, and which buildings to look at mothballing. And then, of course, the the nurses' residence has been determined to be vacant, and we're going to be, basically shutting everything off there and looking towards demolition as soon as possible in that building.
The city will demolish that building?
More than likely, we're going to seek funding to try to do that. We currently do not have funding, but that will be a focus of discussions, ongoing discussions that we've had with the state of West Virginia.
All right, going into this, I know that you talked about some of the details with the Finance Committee and with the Council in terms of what the costs of the interim stage might be. What are those numbers, and are you still in that same ballpark, or now that you're in there, are you seeing that you're going to have to spend more or less money? Again, I recognize it's a guesstimate. I understand that, but given that, where are you?
Well, the range that we discussed publicly was, I believe, $450,000 to $750,000 a year as far as carrying costs. It's hard to. We're going to be in that range, but it's hard to say for sure because a lot of that was predicated on extremely high heating bills for winter months, and we obviously, as the city, has not gotten into that yet. So at least at this point, it's pretty much in line with what we anticipated, but we still haven't fired up the boiler system. We still haven't gone through cold months. The cooling of the buildings is really not that big a deal now because there's nobody in them. We do have certain areas that we're cooling, but for the most part, the air conditioning is off. But with insurance requirements, the sprinkler system, we will have to heat the vast majority of the square footage, and that's when the cost obviously is going to ramp up.
You anticipate the cost will be still within that $300,000 range that you gave us, $450 to $750 a year?
Yeah, it may be on the higher end of that range, but yes, I do anticipate it will be in that range.
And have you identified either funding sources, or is this coming out of general revenue, or is this user fee money, or what?
No, we have identified a source of funding for the short term, and that's we have a tax increment financing fund.
That's right.
That was established, and so we do have. We can't go on forever. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and that was, made very clear, and City Council made that clear when they, acquired it. But we do have funding for at least a couple of years. Obviously, we're trying to do everything we can to save money going forward because, it is a lot of vacant square footage. But that is the funding source, and it does not have an impact on general operations of the city or any capital projects that may have been planned or funded, throughout the city or citywide.
Let's go. So we primarily talked here about the remaining campus. Let's go over to the Valley Professional Center for a second. The plan still is, I assume, to turn that into a police headquarters. I know that there was authorized some architectural work to be done or design work to be done. So what's happening with that project?
Well, the engineering phase of that has begun. Matter of fact, we have a progress meeting this afternoon on that. We do anticipate it'll take some time to go through the process of designing it, bidding it out, and then ultimately awarding a contract. And in the meantime, there also will be a bond issuance that will be required in order to fund not only the renovation of the Valley Professional Building, but also to construct a standalone fire station. But to answer your question, we do anticipate going out or beginning construction on the renovations, the overall renovations on that building sometime in the spring of 2021.
And you would, again, guesstimate, you'd hope to get the police department in there, a year, 2 years? I don't know, what's the time frame?
The estimated completion is May of 2022, so it's a one-year construction. Now, in the meantime, we are looking at there's some that building is in very, very good condition. There's some square footage on the first floor that we can house our patrol division in, which would spread them out, which provide workspaces on a temporary basis. Well, ultimately it would be permanent, but during construction, and we're working towards doing that hopefully in the next 2 months. But again, that puts people in the building.
It's not the nuts and bolts hard work that you're doing part of this, but I heard Ty Thorngate yesterday on our radio station saying that thinking about trying to find a way to rename the property so it doesn't tie directly to a medical facility. As you market it, maybe coming up with some other terminology to use?
Yes, the city's public relations committee is working very hard on marketing, putting together a marketing plan for these buildings and this property, and that is being the chairman of that committee is Councilman Thorngate. So we're not only looking at the day-to-day operations and the nuts and bolts of the facility, but we're also looking at how we can market it and appropriately market it again to the private sector. So we're doing everything we can from day one to turn this property over and hopefully make it productive and tax-paying property, because currently it isn't.
Who's going to take care of that marketing? Obviously, you've got your hands full. I don't think you want to be a real estate marketer. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you will. I don't know. The city's economic development specialist, Kurt Zendy, seems to have his hands full on some other issues. Are you just going to farm this out to a real estate company? Is that the best plan, or what do you intend to do?
Ultimately, that would probably be the case. We haven't gotten that far yet as to the mechanics of putting it on the market, but that is a topic of discussion over the next few weeks, by the City Council Public Relations Committee and Marketing Committee.
Does the city need, and it's a slight detour here, and I don't have an opinion on this, so I'm not arguing with you. Does the city need a more dedicated economic development expert? Again, Kurt had that role at one point. That's kind of gotten split up in some other things. Is it time to look at bringing somebody on board who could do more economic development activity?
That's always a possibility. We are spread. Our staff has been spread thin, particularly with this acquisition. We do partner with Red and work very, very well with them. But yeah, as we get into this, particularly this big of an undertaking, what you're indicating may in fact be the case.
It's probably a good thing you brought an assistant manager on here in the last couple of years, because you've got an awful lot on your personal plate to coordinate, Bob.
Yeah, and Bill Lanham's the assistant city manager. He has, I've assigned him kind of overseeing OVMC with Kurt, and he's done an excellent job and has really dived into that with both feet. So I'm very pleased with that. And it has been incredibly helpful.
Let's shift gears just for a quick second. I know you've got to run, but 19th Street, again, that deal may not be done, but it's been authorized to be done. What will happen once you if you have, or once you do take ownership of that property? What happens with that? You just going to kind of let it hold there for a while, or do you have some plans to start working on that as well?
No, we're going to start working on that right away. We've been into discussions with the West Virginia DEP about their voluntary remediation program, and along with their grant loan environmental remediation grant loan program. But we cannot apply for those funds until we actually own the property. So once the city owns it, it's our intention to make application for a $350,000 grant loan, which would be utilized for ultimate remediation, which is the vapor barrier and well monitoring, which has to be done for 3 years, and then asbestos abatement and demolition. So we're gonna move as quick as we can to get that site cleaned up, utilizing outside funding. Now, ultimately, the city may end up contributing some of that funding, but we're going to do everything we can to utilize the West Virginia DEP's grant loan program.
And my sense is there isn't really a sure guaranteed plan of what it is you intend to do with that property after you get it remediated. I don't know whether demolition is part of that and so on, but unlike OVMC, where there seems to me to be a clear plan, a direction, I'm not sure there is one for 19th Street, or am I wrong?
Well, the plan is to clean it up and prepare it for future development, very similar to what we did on the 1100 block. If you recall, those buildings weren't not in nearly as bad a shape as this building is, but they were dilapidated. We put them on the market. We tried to get people to come in, renovate them, and it just didn't work out. So we ultimately pulled the trigger, demolished the block, and then and made it available for development. Of course, the health plan is there now. It's the same game plan with this property, is to get it cleaned up, prepare it. And it's almost a 3-acre site right in the center of the city. And if I'm sure, and I know you're aware of it, but if you go around East Wheeling, there's a lot of development occurring in East Wheeling right now. So we think we're going to be in a position to develop this property into something that's going to be very productive for many years to come.
Any feelers out from anybody since you began talking about this, or are you still sort of working blind on that?
No, there hasn't been any. There hasn't been any feelers. We haven't sent any out yet. Obviously, once we own the property, we will start marketing it. But we've got a lot of things that need to be done, get it cleaned up, and we've got a game plan to do that. We know what we're up against here, but once we get it cleaned up and ready to go, then obviously we'll market it as well.
Bob, before I let you go, very quickly, and let's shift gears just to the overall operating, or the overall budget of the city of Wheeling. These have been difficult times. Your budget is tighter than maybe it has been in years gone by, I believe. You got these big projects that you're juggling, and I have to assume that to some extent revenue is down because of COVID.
It is, and it kind of jumps off the page at you. You can see, like, for example, when the casino shut down. I mean, there's a funding source of video lottery that comes from the casino. That stopped immediately. The parking revenue went down immediately. So and as we've gone through this process since since March, we've kind of gotten familiar with what our revenue fluctuations have been and will continue to be. So, I think it was publicized. I mentioned at the last Finance Committee meeting that we think the worst case scenario is a $1.5 million reduction in revenue. We're tracking a little less than that right now, but we're planning for the worst case scenario. Now, the CARES Act funds coming from the state of West Virginia have been and will continue to be very helpful in helping with the reimbursement of costs associated with this this pandemic. So we'll see how that plays out, but that is going to have a positive impact on our budget.
And how are you approaching what, at least at the absent the CARES funding, what looks to be a tighter budget? How are you approaching that? Are you looking at any kind of trimming of the budget or cutbacks, or are you hoping that it will right itself as time goes by?
Well, we're always hoping it'll right itself. I think it will. We've been very careful. We are hiring, but we do have a lot of vacancies, and because of the pandemic and the slowdown, that's caused some issues, which has created some natural savings. But we're watching every penny that we spend. We haven't delayed any major projects. We're still moving forward with projects because those funding sources, we've been able to set the budget up so that those funding sources are outside the normal annual revenue that comes in. So we're just being very careful with what we do, and I don't think we're going to need any type of reduction in service as this thing moves forward, because we are starting to see some improvement from a revenue perspective. But until it's over, it's kind of hard to tell for sure.
Bob, I appreciate your time this morning. Got to ask you real quick, as I always like to. How's the granddaughter doing? How's Rosie doing?
She's doing very well. She actually made the newspaper today. She's doing very well. She's visiting. She lives in Morgantown and is visiting while her mother is preparing to go back to school because she's a teacher.
I know that she's, as my grandson is too, sort of the jewel of your life there.
Oh yes. I know Teddy is means a lot to you.
Absolutely. I hear him in the other room. He just showed up for his daily visit. So
good.
I'm done here. I'm going to go take a look at him. All right, Bob, I appreciate your time and your honesty this morning. Thanks a lot. I'm sure we'll be in touch as time goes by. Appreciate it.
Okay, Howard. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Wheeling City Manager Bob Heron checking in this morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. So I think we got some interesting information out there. They're working on the OVMC building. Some city functions are moving into that building, at least on a temporary basis. Again, setting aside the Valley Professional Center, which they are going to turn into the police headquarters, and that should be a 2-year project, and then that'll be taken care of. But the other part of the campus, they're still working on putting some city people in there, figuring out what they have to mothball, what they have to keep alive for a period of time, and eventually looking towards marketing it. I go back and forth on this. Part of me doesn't think it's the responsibility of the city to do economic development and marketing in the sense that we're talking about here. But if we're going to, I'm not sure, but what we don't need an economic development specialist, somebody who really knows how to do this. Now, as Bob pointed out, they work with Red, and they do a good job with this stuff. But maybe it's time to look at, expanding that opportunity inside the city. We'll talk more about this tomorrow with some other folks, perhaps as well. I need to get to the news desk real quickly, though, because Bob Westfall will come knocking on my door in a minute or two and want to share with you what they're working on at the Big 7. Let's find out what they're working on at Metro News right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. If the school year began...
Back in a minute, Biff. Biffy, I didn't do a FanDuel yet this hour, did I? Okay, I'll get one in here. If I have time before Bob joins us.
Or call 833-639-7070.
How do you give hope to a child in the foster care system? It starts with your heart. That tug you feel in yours when you hear that children are waiting for a stable, loving voice to speak up for their best interests. And then it becomes your time. What started out as a feeling that maybe you could make a difference becomes the difference. Change a child's story. There is a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Protecting you isn't just our job, it's our passion. If 2020 has proven anything, it's that anything can happen. You need to have the right partner to guide you through insurance pitfalls to make sure your business is adequately covered. From your property and equipment to your employees and your family, Glessner Wharton Andrews Insurance has the drive and the ability to keep you protected.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly cloudy through the afternoon. Daytime high near 83, overnight low of 69 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, limited sunshine for your Friday, with temperatures in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Hi, this is Chris Lawrence from the Metro News News Team. Join us weekdays on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for the latest regional news around West Virginia, along with news and weather from WTRF-TV and Bill DeFabio on sports. We give you the Ohio Valley's most comprehensive morning news right here on the Watchdog.
Conversation you care about from people you know. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Coming up today at 10, as always, Statewide Talk Line. My good friend, Mr. Kirchhoff, will be on board. He'll be talking with Brad McElhenney about some of the issues pending in the state. Maybe the fun battle that Phil Kabler had with the governor yesterday. What did he say? What was the line, Phil? What did he say? Not Jiminy Christmas, Phil. Get real, Phil. Get real, Phil. So we had some fun with that earlier. If you missed the little clip, it's on Twitter. You can find it over there. Also, Ben Salango, gubernatorial candidate on the Democrat ticket, will be on with Hoppy today on Statewide Talk Line. 10 to noon, 12 o'clock, always the live news from WTRF-TV, followed by Bill DeFabio's variety show until 2. And this afternoon, on the afternoon drive, it's Dancing with Dr. G, the Donnie Gilbert radio show, Thursday this week. And for a while now, because normally on Fridays, Donnie's on, but now we'll have him on Thursdays because we have the walkthrough on Fridays. So coming up today, Donnie Gilbert radio show live from Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands as part of our afternoon drive. Dave McLaughlin and Ross Johnson will co-host. Caden Minch will be in to talk about an Eagle Scout project at Glendale Municipal Park. Then it's high school football previews. Man, he's got them all, Biffy. Jason Willis, head coach from JM. Mike Young will be in from Central. Tim Brown and Gibbs Davidson from Cameron High School, all talking football with Donnie today. Beginning at 2 to 5 o'clock, the afternoon drive with Donnie Gilbert. And today, live from Quaker Steak and Lube. You want to check that out. Coming up tomorrow for the afternoon drive, of course, it will be the Friday afternoon walkthrough. First one of the season. It'll be fun. Always enjoy it. It'll be live for you, and you want to check that out with Jerry and the gang. And then when they're done with the walkthrough, they go out to Shady Side. Oh, actually, they go to Martin's Ferry, I guess, right? Where the game is being played, Biffy?
Yes. Shady Side is at Martin's Ferry, yep.
Shady Side is at Martin's Ferry tomorrow night. 7 o'clock, we'll have the game for you on both our Watchdog stations. And then on Saturday afternoon, 12:30 from Nelson Field, it's Blair hosting River as we kick off our high school football coverage this year here on the Watchdog. And hopefully there'll be an NBA playoff before too much longer. They had a little problem yesterday with protests shutting them down, but if you're watching the NBA playoffs and paying attention to them and you want to put a little bet down on them, FanDuel Sportsbook has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, if you're a new user, this is a new user-only deal. You can get plus 2,000 odds on any team making the NBA Finals. Pick any team, put 10 down, and get $200 if you win. Simple as that. And the nice thing about FanDuel is that you do get your money quickly, usually in less than 24 hours. That is not always the case with other sports books. So they've got all different kinds of bets. If you don't want to bet this particular one on the NBA, they have all different other kinds of bets that you can take as well. Prop bets, fun bets, serious bets, crazy bets, some crazy things there as well. If you enjoy gaming and betting just for fun, then by all means take advantage of FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. Be sure to sign up with the promo code Monroe, my name, MONROE, put that in the promo code box, and then you will be able to take advantage of the different deals that we offer to you here on the Watchdog. This one is for new users only. I do need to tell you, you have to be 21 or older. You have to be physically present in West Virginia. This deal that we talked about for the NBA is new users only. You must wager on a designated boost market. The maximum bonus is $200. And if you want to get more details, go to sportsbook.fanduel.com. Now, I said if you enjoy this and have fun gaming, and most people just use it as a fun sidelight activity, just to, get a little time, have a little fun, put some bucks up and have some fun, great. But if you're someone who has a gambling problem, then you should call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. Gambling is a serious addiction and can cause serious life problems for you. Believe me, I have seen it happen if you don't take advantage of it. But for most people, just have some fun. Just go out and have some fun. 7 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Biffy, there's a fashion trend I will not take advantage of, and I do not believe anybody probably should.
And that would be?
Short shorts for men.
Yeah, I'm on board with that as well.
Apparently, this is the new deal, short shorts. And when I say short, we're talking, they say here, 5.5 inches on the inseam. Holy. Whoa. We're not talking about cargo shorts, We're not even talking about bathing suit style shorts. We're talking about, I'm thinking possibly obscene shorts.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. But according to Fox News, I am quoting Fox News here, many women are now saying they like the look of the short shorts on men. It makes them look taller and is more flattering to their legs.
They're lying.
Yes, Biffy, you're absolutely right. Now, I will get in trouble for being sexist on this. I am a huge believer in short shorts. All right? For the ladies. Not for the men. Although, Ellen DeGeneres has been in a lot of trouble lately for a variety of different things. And you ever notice that on the Ellen DeGeneres, I don't know if you ever watch it or not, Biffy. I don't watch it. My wife watches it here in the afternoon sometimes. Ever notice that Ellen DeGeneres has a lot of her male staff members come out in really skimpy outfits? I guess it's reverse sexism, which is okay, I guess. If I like to look at the ladies in the skimpy stuff, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to absolutely guarantee you there's not even don't bother to bet this on FanDuel because you will lose. I ain't wearing no short shorts. I barely wear shorts to begin with. Now, you got shorts on probably today, right, Biffy?
Yeah, but they're reasonable.
They're regular shorts.
Yeah, they're like shorts I'd wear golfing or whatever.
Yeah, right. And when I'm out on the deck with Teddy or wandering the neighborhood or something, I'll put on a pair of shorts. I'm one of these old guys that usually wears actually a full dress pair of khakis, but sometimes I'll put on shorts. But you ain't no short shorts, not by any stretch of the imagination. And by the way, stretch would be a good word to use.
Yes, it would be here.
Because they would stretch out very much so. Let's head over to the Big 7, WTRF TV, and see what Bob Westfall's working on this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. I was so scared where that was going to go.
You probably have your short shorts. You have your short shorts on now, don't you? Come on.
Oh, gosh, no. Gosh, I can't say as I ever wore short shorts. But So anyway,
I bet the whole staff there. I don't want to be sexist, so I won't say the ladies. The whole staff there wants to see you come strutting in with your short shorts on, Bob.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. So anyway, let's go right to the news here.
What is happening today?
Stories we're working on out of Bridgeport Schools. I love both of them. Bridgeport Schools is focusing on trauma-informed care. It's something that they've set up through the school, and the idea is that they're going to be identifying trauma and helping students gain a little bit of self-assurance and things like that, especially dealing with a lot of times with the COVID. They're kind of isolated. So we're going to follow up, do a story of that. Superintendent Ripley say, "Yep, come on over." So we're going to do that, and they're also looking at grants for thermometers and things like that. Digital thermometers, so again, to help with the COVID situation in the new reality in which we are in. Also, we've been checking in with local school districts today. Tyler County, Catherine Guyan talked to the superintendent down there. We're going to find out what their plans are going back to school. Of course, Big Ten high school football kicks off tonight. The Mighty Panthers of Buckeye Local take on the Shamrocks from Barnesville tonight, and we will be there live tonight with Scott Nolte and Danny Maris. So we will be live on that. And of course, following the weather, with a hurricane hitting Louisiana this morning, where are those remnants of that storm going to go? I think we're looking. I think they've kind of dialed back ours up here to an inch. But if that changes, Dr. Dave, Zach, and Alexa will have that information. So those are the kind of the news, weather, and sports for a Thursday.
Busy day. People can check things out at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 statewide show, and always at WTRF.com.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Have a good day.
I appreciate it, Bob. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. I bet he's wearing short shorts. No, I bet he's not. No, I bet he's not. All right, time for me to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here, but I do plan to come back. All things working out well. Good Lord willing, creeks don't rise. Bat phone doesn't ring. I don't get impeached, and I don't retire, and my ticker keeps on ticking. That's getting to be antsy these days. I don't overeat myself. Oh, that's even antsier. And Teddy says it's okay. You can go back to work tomorrow, Granddad. I shall be here tomorrow morning to close out the week at 7 o'clock. Are you back with me, Brother Biff?
I'll be back ready to close out the week.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
I'm Sherry Preston, riding out hurricane.
All righty, we made it through. Not too bad. Bob was pretty good, so that was a good way to handle that. I may be down later. I dropped my Apple Pencil yesterday, so it's waiting for me there. I may come down just to pick it up. I have to go out and do some stuff today, so I may stop down. So perhaps I shall see you, Brother Biff. If not, I'll just talk to you in the morning, unless you have any problems, in which case you call me. Yeah, hopefully. All right. Thanks for your help as always, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Of the police shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake, in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Video of that shooting sparked days of protests. Boycotts were seen in other professional leagues, including the WNBA, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, and pro tennis. Lionel Moise, ABC News.
Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, was asked about it on an interview with CNN this morning, saying, if they want to protest, I don't think we care. White House senior advisor Jared Kushner says his father-in-law's speech at the Republican National Convention tonight will be hopeful, while also arguing of serious consequences if Joe Biden wins. ABC's Alex Stone is in Washington ahead of the address.
Tonight, President Trump will close out the four-day convention in front of a crowd of around 1,000 supporters at the White House. Masks will be optional. The entire Trump family will be on hand